You are knowing what you are wanting, and you are enjoying the expansion of your own desire. Sometimes. You're keeping up with it pretty well. In other words, do you think that what you desire is believable? Do you believe in your own expansion and in your own becoming? Do you believe in your ability to let more and more of what you want into your experience? Because that really is the key to living happily ever after. You cannot slow your desire making down, because life just makes more desire. The variety that surrounds you and your ability to focus and your inability not to focus. In other words, you cannot help but focus. Your personal perspective just keeps you being the focusing mechanism that you were born to be. So you just keep focusing more and more desire into more and more clarity. You can't stop that. But you do have options about how well you keep up with your own desire. And by that we really mean what we just asked you. How much of the new desire that your life constantly helps you to give birth to, how much of that desire do you believe? Sometimes, as you've been moving through life, you've not only picked up desire, but you've picked up conflicting beliefs about your desire. Your life sort of teaches you how you feel about things. And since most people are mostly just responding to life, in other words, most people are just having a knee-jerk response to life, so their life teaches them a sort of habit of thought. That's what a belief is. A belief is just a thought that you continue to think. It's a habit of thought. And so sometimes those habits of thought you pick up from those who are up close to you when you were very, very young. It's a very common thing that what your parents believed is what you believed, because as they believed it, it's what the law of attraction brought to them. And since the law of attraction brought it to them, then it manifested in their experience. And so you witnessed it. And what you witnessed is what you believe, because you'd feel crazy not to believe what you're witnessing. There it is right there in full view. The data is all right there. The proof is right there in front of me. And therefore I believe it. And so it's not the easiest thing to hear that you can believe differently, and therefore you can attract differently, and therefore life can be different, because most aren't doing that. Most are just observing. So most are offering most of their vibrational frequency, and that matters so much, in response to what they are observing. And because they're offering that frequency, the law of attraction is responding to that frequency and giving them more of what that frequency is. So it's really easy to come to believe in not enough of the things you want. Not enough money, not enough love, not enough kindness, not enough clarity. It's easy to believe it because that's what you're witnessing. We want you to realize that you have more options in what you believe, that you can believe past what is. In fact, we want to say that even more clearly. You gotta believe past what is if you want to be a deliberate creator. Most don't. Most don't believe beyond what is. It is, and so they observe it, they like it or don't. They have an emotional response that reflects whether they like it or whether they don't. They get more of whatever it is that they're focused upon, which makes them believe it more. And then most people set about taking those manifestations that are nothing more than response to their vibration and sorting them into piles. That's a good pile and that's a bad pile. That's a wanted pile, that's an unwanted pile. And then most humans argue over about the rightness or the wrongness of the piles, not realizing that they can participate in whichever pile of whichever subject that they want to, and that their attention to it is what causes more of that to come to them. This law of attraction is the law that organizes the entire universe. The law of attraction, in its purest definition, says that which is likened to itself is drawn. So, doesn't matter what you're giving your attention to, you get what you think about. So, the key is to think about what you want, even if what you've got isn't what you want. And some say, whew, that's not the way I think. I think I should face reality. And we say, we don't want to upend your beliefs, and we're not trying to get you to believe things that you don't already believe. It isn't about there being this belief system that we want you to believe in. We just want you to gain the control of your own experience that you were born expecting to live. We just want you to be the deliberate creator that you were so excited about being when you made the decision to come into this leading edge environment. When you as a creator wanted to come and see what's around and evaluate it from your personal and very specific and very important perspective. And then from that place, come to your own serious and important conclusions about what you prefer from where you stand. Because you understood that when the preference was born within you, that if you had the ability to focus in the direction of your preference, that the law of attraction and all of the energy of the universe would move in the direction of your attention. So, we want to remind you of some things you knew when you made the decision to come. We want to remind you that the law of attraction abounds, and we want to remind you of the power of your own thought. And we want to help you to understand a very important concept, which is the path of least resistance. And by that we mean there is a current of energy that comes from source, that is on your side, that adores you and flows to you and through you, that is the basis of all of the good that life can bring to you. It comes from source energy. It's an awareness of source energy upon you and your value, your true perfection. It's source energy who adores you and who flows to you and through you. And when you get in alignment with that flow, that is the ultimate path of least resistance. It's the flow of love. It's the flow of clarity. It's the flow of well-being. It's the flow of good feeling. It's the flow of joy. It is the path of least resistance. And so love is the path of least resistance, and hate is the path of most resistance. Ease is the path of least resistance, and struggle is the path of most resistance. And so clarity is the path of least resistance, and confusion is more resistance. You see what we are getting at? So, as you came into this physical body, you knew that part of you was being focused into this body, and you knew that this part of you that came into this human form would be subjecting yourself to a variety that did contain resistance. And you came willingly and expectantly and eagerly because you also knew that the larger part of you, some call it your soul, your inner being, some call it source or God, we call it your inner being, this non-physical energy of perfection and of expansion, continually becoming more. You knew that that part of you would remain non-physically focused and would be steadily flowing to you, and that if you were in a receptive mode, you would be able to feel that clarity and that energy and that love. And you knew that in doing that, you would enjoy your expansion. So you said, I'll go forth with other humans, and I will explore the variety. And out of my personal and important exploration, I will come to my own conclusions about what I prefer. In other words, the universe will expand because of my attention and focus. And when a preference emanates from me or radiates from me, vibrationally, as all thought does, that thought will be understood by my inner being and will be focused upon by my inner being, will absolutely and actually be held in a vibrational environment. In other words, my inner being will receive my desire, will understand it, and will become it, and will hold the vibrational essence of it. And because my inner being is part of me, and because my inner being has now received my expansive desire, now there is a relationship that I have, a vibrational relationship that I have with my inner being that I can interpret or understand or feel through my own emotions. So when I'm really going with the flow of what life has shown me that I prefer newly, and my inner being understands it and embraces it and holds the frequency of it, when I go with the flow of those ideas, I feel that life force that is only present when I'm fully allowing who I really am to be who I really am. But if I give birth to a desire, but instead of going with the flow of it, I hold myself in resistance of it because I'm looking at the environment that caused me to desire it rather than the desire itself. In other words, I want more money, but I don't have enough. And if I continue to focus upon the lack of money, while my inner being is focusing upon the abundance of money, then I'm holding myself in vibrational opposition to my new decision, and I'm not going with the flow. And my not going with the flow is a path of more resistance, while my going with the flow is a path of more allowance. Resistance doesn't feel good, allowance feels good. And so that's really what we want to talk about, that and the law of attraction and your relationship with source energy and the fact that you can be or do or have anything. We want to show you how to understand your emotional guidance system and how to focus in a way that allows you to be less resistant more of the time and more allowing more of the time and therefore more joyful more of the time, more in control of your own life more of the time, more loving toward others, more supportive of others, more uplifting for others, more of the energy that creates worlds rather than the energy that holds the creation back just a little bit. And the thing is, you can't hold the creation back. You can just make yourself miserable trying. Because once a desire is born, it's off and running. Because that's what you said you were here about. So, briefly, we just want to remind you that there is a creative process that once you get in sync with it, you will find such success at flow and ease and becoming in the way that you really mean to. So step one is life causes you to sift and sort and evaluate and decide. Life just gives you contrasts that causes desire to be born. So step one is asking. And life just causes you to do that all day, every day. Step two is not your work and not your focus. It's the work and the focus of your inner being. Step two is when you ask, it is immediately, instantaneously given to you in vibrational form. When you ask, it is given. And the vibrational form is so magnificent because the vibrational form means that your inner being and all of your inner being's partners in non-physical, which is source energy, form a focused attention and a collective energy gathering environment around what you have asked for. And cooperative components of all manner and all kinds are gathered in this vibrational environment for your benefit. And we call that vibrational environment a vortex because it's a gathering of energies and it's impossible for anything that's a vibrational match to what you've asked for not to be gathered. And so the cooperative components, it's enormous, it's significant, and it's steady, and it's sure, and it's all for you. Step one, step two. Step three is, now you, who have been somewhat resistant when you knew what you didn't want, which caused you to know what you do want, now your work is to focus upon what you do want rather than justify why you don't want what you don't want. You gotta go with the flow of your own new desire rather than stand in stubborn defiance of what you're living, a sort of outraged justification. I need it, I demand it, I want it. That's not going with the flow. That's going against the flow. Going with the flow is thinking about how good it will feel, or looking for things that feel good right now. You don't even have to stay on the subject of your desire. You just can't focus in opposition to your desire.